India is a country of young people, and this presents an enormous opportunity provided the policy matrix is framed in such a way and the administrative mechanism is designed in such a way as to facilitate the empowerment of the youth. A lot of this empowerment will take place through technology. A lot of it is going to take place through innovations in education. And there is absolutely no reason why we cannot have in India world beating products of the knowledge economy. Let's not forget, a single company, Amazon, is about three-fourths of the Indian gross national product. One single company, and that company is created entirely out of the knowledge economy. It's created entirely out of brain power. And this is something that can be done all over India. Now, why do I say this? Because GCTC has from the very beginning taken a very broad and holistic view of national security. You know, there have been attempts to siloize security, external threats, internal threats, then traditional kinds of terrorism, then things like, for example, you can see the Red Corridor. The reality is, unfortunately, we are now dealing with fusions and morphing of these streams, with the result that what we are seeing are hybrid forms of terror. You are seeing, for example, the red terrorism combining with Wahhabi terrorism. You are seeing Wahhabi terrorism combining with activities in which religion-based groups, say, for example, the Northeast, are basically incentivized by a country which does not believe in religion at all to create problems for India. So you have a situation in which rapid changes are taking place in organizations responsible for terror. Rapid changes are taking place in the mindset and methods of the individuals who are actually active in terror. And this means that those fighting terror have got to be equally nimble and keep ahead of the curve. If you're behind the curve, innocent lives get lost. And each innocent life getting lost is a tragedy to a family, to a country, and to humanity in general. In this situation, I'd like to compliment GCTC. I've been, involved in GCTC from the very beginning, and I'd like to say that, Aditya and his team, they have essentially ensured that GCTC has kept ahead of the curve where counterterrorism is concerned. And GCTC has kept ahead of the curve by not recognizing artificial boundaries. Neither the question of the national boundary nor the question of the South Asian boundary, in which so many discussions of terrorism have got, in a sense, fixated on the South Asian boundary, forgetting that the Middle East, the Far East, even Europe, United States, other parts of the world are all contributory factors to not only South Asian terrorism, but domestic terrorism. GCTC has understood that and has now got a global focus. GCTC has understood the need to understand the hybrid forms of terror, and this is frequently being discussed. At the same time, GCTC has understood that the front line of terror is a healthy society. A healthy society is a society where the different components work smoothly with each other and where you do not have the tensions of, let us say, of religion, caste, region, etc. Because enemies of India will try to create these tensions. They will try to ensure that the country is weakened in this form. And what is very, very important is to recognize that and to recognize that today terror can have unconventional forms. And then many of these forms may not be looking at traditional acts of terror. For example, the destruction of some very high performance weapon systems through quote unquote faulty maintenance. The exploding of 2,700 tons of high explosive. People are not sure, is it terror or is it not? But the reality is, it could well be terror. So we have to have a strategy of zero risk as far as possible and zero, if I may say so, fault as far as possible, which basically means that we look at every event, we look at every connection and ensure that we capture the one terrorist in 10,000. Because what is happening now is that that terrorist is escaping because we are so focused on saving the trouble for the 9,999 that we may allow that one person to escape. The reality is the trouble caused by terror is much more than the trouble caused by methods of looking into a population to check and see if there is terror embedded in that population. In all these, I can tell you, GCTC is now becoming a path-breaking source, and GCTC is becoming an inspiration, and definitely it's becoming a force multiplier in the not only the war on terror of India, but the global war on terror. It is now living up to its name. Among the innovations that GCTC is doing is to train groups of interns. And these young people are amazing in their interest and their dedication and their thirst for knowledge about this very important field of counterterrorism. Over the years, batch by batch, youngsters have been trained to look carefully at situations and to understand and analyze prospective, potential, and actual terror situations. This is one of the invaluable assets that GCTC has given to the world, its young interns.